This is the inside of the 2018 Caravelair Antares 496. If I firstly move to the two main control panels for the caravan, just above the entrance door, we can turn this one on just here. You'll see that it's letting us know that we're hooked up to the main supply and that we are using the caravan battery. This symbol here is not used on this particular caravan because we do not have an onboard water tank. This one here will give us a voltage of the caravan battery, and if we were hitched up to a tow vehicle, this one here would give us a voltage of that as well. If we now move to the next control panel, this one here is for the heating and hot water. You'll see at the moment it's just displaying the time and letting us know that we're hooked up to main supply with a little picture of the 2-pin plug just there. If I now press the button, we'll get a series of icons, and as I rotate the button they will begin to flash. If we start with the first icon just there, this is for your heating. Just rotate it and pick whatever temperature you'd like it to be inside the caravan and then click to store it in. You will then see a little flame appear above. That little flame there just represents the heating system and it's just letting you know that you've set a parameter. Whenever the heating is in operation, that flame will begin to flash and it will continue to flash until it achieves the temperature you have asked it. If we now move to the next icon, this one here is for your hot water, and again just click on it. You'll see that hot water is off. Now rotate and you can heat hot water in eco mode, which will give us a temperature of about 40 degrees. If I rotate again, we can heat it in hot, which will give us a temperature of about 60 degrees. And we can also perform a boost on the boiler. The boost was mainly designed for if there's going to be more than one of you having showers in quick succession of each other. If you do perform the boost and the heating's running, it will turn the heating off as it needs to use that extra power. And again, the icon will continue to flash until it's achieved the temperature you have asked it. The next icon is power source. So we're currently using to run the heating and hot water mains electricity using 2 kilowatts, indicated by the 2 little lightning strikes up here. If I rotate the button, we can lower the power consumption to 1 kilowatt. So if we're on a low amp site, to try and avoid ourselves from tripping. If we have both power sources available to us, we can run in dual fuel, so on a mixture of gas and mains at 2 kilowatts or a mixture of gas and mains at 1. This setting here is extremely handy, especially in the winter months if you want to get up to temperature nice and quickly. It will only use the gas as it's required. And then lastly, if we were without main supply, we can then just solely run on gas. After power source selection, we then have the circulation fan for the heating system, so we can run the fan in eco mode or high mode. If we didn't have the heating on, we can also use it to just vent the caravan as well. If we now drop to the lower icons, this first one here is for a basic timer. We literally just select when we would like the system to fire up and then when we would like it to turn back off again. And then we just select what we would like on within that time period. And then once we've done this, lastly, timer on or off, activate the timer, the icon will come up there, and then within that time period those settings would apply. If I now return to it, I can turn the timer back off, and when we go back in, we can then alter it again. After timer, we then just have clock set just here. And then lastly, we have the settings menu. Within this, we have offset, which is just for the thermostat, which is just here. If you don't think it's quite correct, you can just slightly adjust it. Temperature, just if you prefer it in Celsius or Fahrenheit. Brightness of the screen. 12 or 24 hour clock. Language. Index, which is more for the technicians, it just lets them know what software it's running. And then lastly, full factory reset. From time to time, these control panels will throw up error codes. They will usually be something relatively basic. So at the moment we're running on main supply. So if we disconnected the mains lead or we tripped, it would throw up an error code letting us know. An error code will appear where my finger is, just here as a warning triangle, and then there's a series of letters and numbers. If you then look in the manual or you Google it, it will tell you what the fault is. If you can rectify the fault, the error code will just go out automatically. If it doesn't go out automatically, just go back to the warning triangle and double click on it, and then 9 times out of 10 it will say no error and then disappear. If you still have no luck, if you still have stuff running like I do at the moment, just turn it off, because it can reassess a lot faster when it's not trying to do lots of things at once. If you still have no joy with that, I then always suggest the good old-fashioned turn it off and turn it back on again. And the way we turn this off is just by holding the button in here until it says off, and then obviously hold it back in to turn it back on again. If you still have no luck with that, the last resort is the factory reset. It will not harm the unit in any way. Sometimes they just need to be hard reset. If we now come to the bench seat just here and we remove the cushions, you will see we have storage beneath, and we also have underneath here the back of the battery box just there. We then also have the trip switches just here. So we have the individual MCBs, the main RCD just here, and then the test button. So if something's not working on main supply, just check to see whether or not you have tripped. Just here we have 2 gas isolation taps. This one here for the fridge, this one here for the heating and hot water system. They're in the on position, and really all gas isolation taps can stay in the on position. I always say if you smell gas in the caravan, just go to the gas bottle and isolate it. If we now move across to the other side and again remove the cushion, again we have storage beneath, and just here we have the battery charger. This is also where you will find the 12-volt fuses. So if we just slightly push down just on the top here, this bit will remove, and you will then find the 12-volt fuses for the caravan just here. Again, they are all numbered up. Also in here you will see that we just have the back of the external shower and the barbecue point. If you are going to use the front double bed, it's extremely easy. Just slide this section out just here, so it just clips into the little rubber stoppers. Then all we need are the infill, which as you can see just drops into place just here. Within the wardrobe you will find the digital amplifier for the television aerial just here, on and off just here. It will also isolate on the light switch just here. We also have in here the solar panel regulator. We do not need to do anything with this, it will just smart charge the battery as it is required. Beneath it we have the fridge. So at the moment we're currently running on main supply with a little picture of the 2-pin plug just there. If I want to turn it off, just literally turn it to the off setting. To run it on gas, flick it to the little picture of the flame. You will then see that we have the igniter and the purge button just there. So if we hold the purge button in and then press the igniter, what we then want is for that line there to drift out of the red into the green to indicate that it's lit. Once you let go, as long as it stays in the green, you know it's lit. If it drops back off into the red, just repeat the process again. It may just be down to the fact there's a bit of air in the system. Again, if I now turn it back to off, you'll see that it will shoot right up and then slowly drift back off to indicate that it's back out again. The last one just here with a little picture of the battery is 12 volt maintained for when you are towing to keep the fridge cold on the move. Temperature control just here. And then we have the fridge and the freezer section just above. And travel catch at the bottom. We have the sink and the hob. So we have the electric hot plate, which will work when hooked up to the main supply. Red light here just comes on to let you know it's in operation. And then we have the 2 gas rings. Let's just push in, twist and push the igniter. Oven and grill. Push in to the left for the oven. And then push in to the right for the grill. Underneath we have small storage, and again we then have the gas isolation tap just there for the cooker. If we now just come to the dinette, and I'll just remove these cushions just here, we have more storage. And then if we do the same again to the other one, we then have the boiler. To drain the water out of the boiler for travel or winterization, it is just done down here. You can just about see this little blue diamond just here. This is the boiler's drain valve. These valves are automatic, so if it's in the closed position and the temperature drops below about 3 or 4 degrees inside the caravan, it will automatically open to drop all the water out of the boiler to frost protect itself. If you are going to manually drain it, what you do is you twist that blue diamond, and when you twist it, a blue button will pop out at the base of the unit. To close it back up again, just twist, push the blue button back in, it will lock into place, and then literally fill up the aqua roll, plug in the submersible, and it will commence refilling the boiler back up again. You will need to open your taps as they cough and splutter and force the air out. Once they're running freely, close them back up again, and then the system will then fully reprime itself. If it auto drains, all that will happen is the blue button will just pop out, and you will just need to push it back in to reset it. If it will not stay in, it's just too cold in the caravan, and you will need to turn the heating on to allow it to reset. Within the dinette here we also have 2 beds. If we're going to make the top bunk we need to just remove the table, and this just literally just lifts up and then lifts off. And then we can also fold the leg at this point here just by pushing this button in. To get the bunk up, we need to slide these two clips up like so. And then what we're doing is we're pulling the bunk towards us, and then literally as we pull it up, we're flipping it over. So it then looks like this. We then need to go back to the clips that we released and then slide them back across to lock it into place so there's no movement. Underneath here you'll just find some poppers which just need to be undone. Once we've done this, we can then lift this section up, flap it over like so, and then clip this onto the back wall. Once we've done this, we then need to put the bed guards into place. So as you can see, they just literally slot in like this, and then we can then add the infills. So you just pop the 3 infills just in here, and then pop the ladder on just here. To make the bed beneath, we need to pop the table onto the 2 ledges. Like so. And then again just add all the infills, and then we end up with something like this. I've left all these cushions this way up. I personally flip them over, but just so you can see which ones they actually are. Next we have top bunk, again ladder just onto there, and then the bottom bunk with storage beneath. We then have the wardrobe at the rear, and we also have the freestanding table just here as well. Then we have the washroom. So we have the shower just here. Do make sure that the shower screen is secure for travel. We then have the basin just here, light switches, and the Thetford toilet just here. To open to the cassette, just slide across just here, and then with this particular one it's just up and down to flush, and then close again. If this has been left open and you try to remove the cassette from the outside, it will not come out. So if you're feeling resistance, just make sure nobody's left it open. Level indicator for the cassette just here. This will rotate to red when it needs to be emptied.